All right, Living the Tao, verse 2. If you are new here or you haven't seen the first video, um, I'm currently practicing reading and studying to the best of my ability this book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Wayne Dyer. Basically, his rendition of the Tao Te Ching, which means the book of the way and its virtue. In here, he encourages us to read each verse and live it and study it and practice it in our everyday lives. And here is the second verse. Under heaven, all can see beauty as beauty only because there is ugliness. All can know good as good only because there is evil. Being and non-being produce each other. The difficult is born in the easy. Long is defined by short. The high by the low. Before and after go along with each other. So the sage lives openly with apparent duality and paradoxical unity. The sage can act without effort and teach without words, nurturing things without possessing them. He works, but not for rewards. He competes, but not for results. When the work is done, it is forgotten. That is why it lasts forever. Kind of hard to understand when you first just read it and you're trying to depict everything, but this one is easily identified as letting go of judgment, letting go of the labels we place on judging things by good or bad. And this is seen in the first paragraph. You know, we only see things beauty as beauty only because there is ugliness. This paradoxical duality that everything we judge or label depends on the opposite definition. You know, we only define ugly from what it means to be not beautiful, and vice versa. Beautiful is defined as not being ugly. Tall, if you're tall, is defined as somebody who is taller than a short person, and the list goes on with these paradoxical, the paradoxical duality of life. And as Wayne Dyer, his example, once the dichotomies or pairs of opposites are transcended, or at least seen for what they are, they flow in and out like the tides. That's one of his quotes. And to live a unified life, in other words, accept the duality of the material world while still remaining in constant contact with oneness of the eternal Tao. The debilitating necessity to be right and make others wrong will naturally diminish. I'll say that again, okay? So, how does one live openly with apparent duality and a paradoxical unity? To act without effort, to teach without words. As Wayne Dyer puts it, accept the duality of the material world while still remaining in constant contact with the eternal oneness of the eternal Tao. The debilitating necessity to be right and make others wrong will naturally diminish. Live a unified life. To realize and be aware of this paradoxical unity and natural duality of the material world, one can realize that everything has this paradoxical dualism to it. So how do you live and accept that? How do you live in that paradoxical unity? As Wayne Dyer puts it, you don't have to leave your body to experience forever. It's possible to know your eternal self even in the embodied condition. When duality and judgment crop up, just allow them to be a part of the perfect unity. When other people create dichotomies, you can always know oneness by practicing the Tao. Notice he says, when other people create dichotomies for you. A perfect example of this dichotomy is when you feel the urge in your life to express your ideas or be heard and understood, and somebody pushes back on those ideas. That's a natural dichotomy of life. You know, you want to be understood, but somebody doesn't understand you. And that's okay. That's okay, you know. Accomplish much by trying less. In the Tao, there's a term called Wu Wei. Wu Wei means to act, to practice effortless action. To practice effortless action. Simply put, a great example Wayne gives is attempting to pick up a piece of trash is really just not picking up the trash. Once you've picked it up, trying and not trying is irrelevant. It's redundant. So think about that. Attempting to pick up the trash is really just not picking it up. Once you've picked it up, trying and not trying are irrelevant. Once you understand this, to act with the implied judgment of words such as effort or trying, you can compete without being focused on outcome. In other words, Lao Tzu would put it in these two simple words. Just be. Just be. Just be. If you were to sum up this entire verse in a few words, I would say, just be, just do it, let them. Just be, just do it, let them. Finally, Wayne gives us an assignment to practice the Tao. Do the Tao now. He says, today, notice an opportunity to defend or explain yourself, and simply choose not to. Silently appreciate every opportunity, along with your willingness to practice your inner sageness and your inner wisdom. And I have a few examples that I wrote down myself. So going back to the labels of judging things. Don't slap labels like good and bad on every single thing in your life. See how they naturally need each other to exist, and just let them be. Another great example of this duality, if you live somewhere where it rains all the time, and it sucks, and it's cloudy, and it's droomy all the time, it makes you appreciate the sun. Another great example, even when you are practicing peace, positivity, good vibes in your life, and you try your best to honestly, genuinely spread compassion and calm, confident energy everywhere you go in your life. You know, you walk out in your everyday life and you meet somebody and they just light up your day just from smiling or just from their energy and their vibes. Understand that in the world we live in, there's always going to be opposites of that. There's always going to be people with negative energy, pessimism, the energy vampires that just take away your life. And know that this is literally a part of the paradoxical unity and living with apparent duality in our material world and everyday life. Understanding this allows you to naturally practice the awareness of the Tao, or the way, or the natural flow of the universe and life. It gives you an opportunity to be aware of the dualism world we we live in. So how do you act without effort and teach without words? Effort plus non-effort equals effortless action. Effort plus non-effort equals effortless action. The best example I thought of that this effort and non-effort shows up in every single day that we live is, think about going to work every day. And you work all day. You work your 9 to 5. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. You work more than that. Maybe you run a business and you're a business owner. Think about it. You work all day. That's the effort part. So where does the non-effort part come in? You sleep. If you were thinking about sleeping, you would have been right. So you work the effort plus focusing on the non-effort, sleep, equals effortless action. Every day you live is made up of this dichotomy. Trying versus not trying. Trying versus not trying. Just like the trash thing. When you try not to pick up the trash, you're just not picking it up. Or when you are trying to pick up the trash, you may be in the act of picking it up, but you're not actually picking up until you pick it up. So that's where the just do it part comes in. You're just doing it. Finally, how can you practice this today in the modern world we live in? A perfect example I thought of that I see every time I go online is trolling, debating online, hate comments, arguments, hundreds of threads of arguments on viral videos of people just going at it in the online world. And the ego says that you want to either defend or explain your side, and that's okay. You can share your view powerfully without tying your self-worth to it. You can share your view powerfully without tying your self-worth to it or needing validation. This will allow you to preserve your energy and keeps you aligned with Wu Wei, or effortless action. Imagine you state something or you post something online, let's say Threads or Twitter, and you state a position of controversy, and something that I get into online, sadly, is the religious conversation. So let's say you post something saying, I believe in God, and just that's it. I believe in God, whether it be on Twitter, X, wherever you post, forums. Even if somebody challenges you, avoid the urge to constantly check, avoid the urge to constantly comment back. And the way I see it is, every time there's a hate comment, even if it's right or wrong, or they proved you wrong and they were right, that's an opportunity for you to see this paradoxical unity and then maybe reflect on it, but understand that that's not a judgment on your character. And let them. Don't continue to fuel the fire. If somebody sparked a hate comment or sparked a controversial thread on top of your statement, notice it, but don't feel this. Feel it. Feel this urge inside of you, and understand that that's the natural part of the paradoxical unity. That's the natural dualism in the world that's going to show up in your everyday life, and that's okay. Let them. Just be. Just do it and move on. That's it. That's it. That's, if I could sum up this entire verse, trust that your words have a place in the world, and just let it be. Let them be. Just do it. Just be. Thank you.